This is the Political Spotlight.
The Political Spotlight is a joke. It's more like a political flop.
Nobody listens to Bilbrey.
He's just a wannabe podcaster. No one takes him seriously.
He is a rude, crude dude that will never go any further than broadcasting from his mother's basement.
Bilbrey is a wrecking ball for Indiana politicians.
Grab another box of Twinkies and generic cola, Bilbrey.
And get back to your microphone and your audience of nobodies.
The Political Spotlight is a joke.
He is like a rude, crude dude that will never go
Bilbrey's a wrecking ball for Indiana politics. Shut that stupid Bilbrey up.
All right. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. It's the Political Spotlight. I'm your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. It's great to be here with you. It is Sunday, June 28th, 2026. I hope you are prepared for the heat wave that we are getting ready to endure for the next couple of days. It's going to be so weird because we're going to have I hate heat, okay? And I generally love to be cool and be in a cool place, although, as you can see, it's hot today, but I've still got a hoodie on because I'm in the cave. And it's going to be so weird this next week when it's going to be like unbearable outside and also unbearable down here. Because in order to be alive in the house, we'll have to have the air on in such a way which will make it unbearable down here, but it'll also be unbearable outside. So it'll be interesting. I might be going live the next couple of days from the main floor. We'll have to see how that works. I don't know. I'll keep you guys posted. But alas, tonight we are here in the basement, Mud Creek Studio, doing well down here. Thank you for being here wherever you're watching from, YouTube or Facebook, whatever. We appreciate it. But if you are on YouTube, we would ask that you please show us a little bit of love, like, subscribe, share, do all of those YouTube things. That would be fantastic if you would be so kind. If you want to share the show, which we highly encourage you to do, please let people know that they can find us at YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, Twitter. We can be found on all major podcast hosting sites, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, all of those different places. All they've got to do is search up the Political Spotlight. If we are someplace, if we are not someplace that you generally will listen to those things, let us know, and we will work on getting there. We are being added to new podcast platforms almost weekly. And so, if there's some place that you listen to the programs and you would rather hear us, let us know. Someone said the other day, OnlyFans, and I was like, yeah, we'll see what we can do there. Get a Political Spotlight OnlyFans account. That would be interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen, even 94 in Maine this week. Yeah, that's a thing. That's 94 in Maine. We're in trouble. It just got done snowing in Maine last week, and so 94 this week's going to be crazy. So listen, I need to talk to you guys because when we were last together on Thursday, I told you that we would be live streaming the Muncie City Council Public Services Committee. And it was going to be important because, as one of our most beloved listeners, Jackie Fisher, was on here, and Jackie pointed out that Friday evening was not very conducive to having people there. It was not a good time to have a public meeting. And so I knew that there were not going to be a lot of people that would be there. I do want to give a round of applause for the folks that did show up. I think all told, there were, not counting counting anybody who was an elected official. I'm not counting anybody who worked for the city of Muncie in this current administration, or anyone who has quit or retired in the last 5 years. And if I put all of those constraints on it, I think, well, and if I don't count anybody in the media, that I think that there were 3 citizens there. I think there were 3 citizens there. And 2 of them are viewers of this channel that I know of. Karen and her husband were there. Karen Brubaker and her husband were there. And I think 1 more. And then outside of that, the rest of us was me. I don't consider me in media. And then Rick Genser, media. And then there were 2 city councilors who were not on the committee. And then there was the fire chief and the fire union president. And then there were 1 or 2 fire retirees. And then there was that's it. Well, Greg Martz, the owner, CEO, operator, whatever you want to call him, of GM Development. So that's what we had going on there. Jerry Dishman was the chair of the committee. And then we had 2 other counselors on the committee, Sarah Gullion and Jeff Green. And the meeting starts, 6 o'clock comes, they gavel us in, ding, 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 ding. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute, we're not live streaming yet. And I messaged back to Amber and I said, hey, they're starting. Are we live streaming yet? And she says, let me just, I will read you my interaction with Amber. Stand by. Let me pull this up. She says, yes, we are live on my end. And I then take a screenshot of I got on my phone and I took a screenshot of my YouTube account going to the city of Muncie, and I went to their live where the live feed would be, and I took a screenshot showing there was no live feed. She then takes a picture of her equipment and of the YouTube page showing that. Let me see something. Yes, Charlize, that is correct. Let me go here really quickly and see if I can see, pop in here and see what she's looking at here. If I can see it on this exact thing. Give me 1 second. I want to make sure that I can pull this up and see what she is. She's okay. So, oh, you know what? All right, that's interesting. So let me show you the picture that she showed me. This is the picture that she showed me. So this is what she sent back to me. And to her credit, to her, what she's saying is it is right. She is right. It shows that they're right. Shows me what she's on. This is the same thing I'm looking at. It shows that it's the stream's going up here. Shows time. Shows everything's working. Shows it's live right here, live. And it says end stream. Okay. Now, if she would have shown me further over, it very likely it very likely would have shown me this. Now I'm going to show you a picture of me. This is our current stream. I have it paused. But if I had this private over here, it would show me a lock. But this is not private. It's open, so there's no lock on it. There would be a lock right over here by my name, by the political spotlight name. It would show me a lock. And she has not shown me that much in the picture. Now, I don't know that she knows that specifically, but I was trying to, and at this point I'm like trying to like, look, she shows me this. So I know that they're recording and I know they're live streaming, but this problem happens a lot, that they show me that they're live streaming and it's not going out. So I'm thinking like, okay, well, let's get this figured out. Let's do what we need to do and get this figured out so we can figure out what the hell is going on here, because this needs to be live streamed. And I'm sitting there, man, I'm so much like my dad. I could tell when my dad would be getting pissed off, like either if it was something that I was doing that was bothering him, or something that somebody else was doing, or something like when my dad was at work. My dad owned his own business, and when there would be things going wrong at work, I could tell when all humans do this thing. If you're getting irritated and you're expressive, with your noises and, doing these sighs and do like these shoulder like shrugs and things like this. And my dad would do this frequently, and I could just know. And that's something like sometimes I'll be doing that. I'll tell you the story. On Thursday, I had a real busy day last Thursday, and I was supposed to be doing like all these different things. And I was going over to help my grandparents do something that, without saying too much, because there's a third party involved, but we were doing something that we shouldn't have had to have been doing. My grandparents shouldn't have had to have been doing it. I shouldn't have had to be doing it because it should have already been done. But it wasn't. And so I was mad. I was not mad at my grandparents. I was mad at the third party. And just FYI, in case David Williams, I got to thinking David Williams was thinking I was talking about him. I'm not talking about you, David Williams. I'm talking about another third party, by the way, just in case Dave's listening. But I'm getting more and more mad. And like, have you ever been so mad or such, like in a bad mood, like you can't stand yourself? Like I get like that a lot. And I mostly get like that because I realize I'm like, oh my God, I'm being like my dad. And it was things that used to bug me about dad. Like I would be trying to tell dad, just calm down, relax, quit being so crappy and just calm down. But now I do that same thing, kind of like father, like son, I guess. It's funny. But what's funny to me is I can be mad at the exact same time that I'm thinking something is funny, but I'm actually getting more mad because I think it's funny. And it's just absolutely hilarious to me. And I was in such a bad mood that I actually had to call my grandparents like afterwards and be like, hey, just FYI, I'm sorry that I was being an asshole. I apologize. I wasn't trying to treat you guys poorly. And they're like, we didn't know anything was wrong. That's just how you are. I was like, oh, well, I thought I was in a bad mood. And they're like, no. Grandpa would be like, I'm trying to think of something. I was telling the story the other day. Like, he'd be like, do you need this tool? And I'd be like, well, yeah, I need it. Instead of just being like, yes, he'd be like, well, do you need this tool? And I'd be like, yeah. Well, I'm on my back with my hands under this thing. I can't be doing it. You're going to have to bring it to me. And he'd be like, oh, where's it at? And I'd be like, I don't know. You're going to have to, I'm just getting irritated with each and every question. And it wasn't that he was asking, it was just the situation. And so then afterwards, then I get a laugh about it, but I apologize. And it was what it was. They didn't even know I was acting any different way. I guess I like that a lot. But anywho, I was then sitting at this council meeting and doing this same damn thing. because this meeting is going, this idiot, Greg Martz, is talking. And I know, I'm mad that nobody from the administration's there. I'm mad that the bond counsel's not there. I'm mad that there's not enough citizens that are there. And moreover, now the city of Muncie's not live streaming, which means we're not live streaming. I'm mad that I don't have the equipment there to live stream. So I'm just totally in a bad mood. I'm starting to huff and sigh and like make more noises. And I'm going back and forth with Amber, and Amber's like, well, I'm trying everything I can. I'm trying everything that we can. I said, well, can you find it on your phone? And she says, nope. I've restarted the stream twice and it shows live on my end. If I shut it down, it'll kill everything. So at that point, when she says that, if I shut it all down, it will kill everything. I'm thinking, well, at least she's recording it. So at least they're recording it. So we might not be live streaming, but at least she's recording it. And after the meeting, they can then they can air it. No big deal. Like, there's a way that we could go live on here and record, and it wouldn't be live streaming, but I could do the entire episode and then upload it afterwards, and you could watch it as it was like live, but it wouldn't be live. It would be recorded. And so I thought, well, okay, at least they're doing that. No, you didn't watch the whole meeting. You only watched a portion, and I'll explain that here in a minute, Shelby. I'll explain that here in a second. So that's the other thing I'm mad about. So we're going back and forth. I'm like, well, at least they're recording it. So I said, weird. So then all of a sudden, about 20 minutes in, Greg Martz says, okay, I'm done with my presentation. And right, literally, as he says he's done with his presentation, and he's like, do you guys have any questions? And the council starts to ask like the very first question. It pops up that the city of Muncie is now live streaming the meeting. And she texts me and she says, got it. And I'm like, what happened? She says, YouTube was set to private. I messaged somebody from the county. They had the same thing happen this week. I said, so good. She says, yeah, YouTube is dumb. I said, well, at least after this is over, it will all be there. She says, no, I restarted it 3 times. So now, just so you're aware, we don't have the initial part, which in my opinion was the most important part, which is all of the nonsense that Greg Martz was saying. So we don't have that. Okay. Now, my hopes is that Lacey from the clerk's office was recording. I think that might be. And if so, I'm going to ask Lacey and I will ask Amber if they can get together and Amber can get the recording from Lacey and if they can post that up so people can hear it. They've done that in the past. So I'm going to ask because that needs to be done. Greg Martz also said that he could read that his presentation in the council meeting on Friday the 6th. So then, sounds par for the course. Yeah, right. Doesn't it? Right? Doesn't it sound par for the course? It's absolutely ridiculous. It seems like amazingly it happens. It happens every time there's a very big and or important meeting. It's amazing how this shit happens every time. So I'm going to show you some bits and pieces of what we do have. We do have about 21 minutes recorded. And so by the time that I realized that we were not going to get anything, I just shut my feed down because I had people there. It was live streaming and I had people there and it was just the screen. And I kept trying to tell people, hey, I'm trying to work through this. I'll let you know what happens here. You know, it is what it is, but it is what it is. So here is what we got recorded. Here's what there was. And this is what we get.
Sorry, I do have a few questions. You said those improvements at the Jackson building that you'll be paying for those and I see that in this breakdown, about $400,000 is what you've got there. I think that the mayor has said that there was some, and this, I see that there's nobody from the administration here, but that they got some kind of promise from Ball State and from the hospital that they're going to be giving money to this. Is there anybody here who can speak to the amount that is? Chief?
I can speak to what was relayed to me, and that was that Ball State had committed $1.5 million to the fire station project, and that they're increasing their fire protection.
They're letting us use that, but we're putting $400,000 into their building that they will.
We're going
back.
to we're going to put some money into the building and to do some renovation.
So here's who was there, ladies and gentlemen. You see Karen and her husband in the back. Rick Ginser's back here. Greg Martz, fire chief, fire union president. There's 2 council members over here to the side, and then I'm over way far on the side. So that's all that was there.
Make it so that it can accommodate firefighters staying there 24-hour shifts. And then we're building a steel building. Well, we'd have to erect a steel building to house the fire trucks there.
Okay.
And so it's $1 lease for 2 years. And at the end of that, then when we vacate, they keep the building.
They keep the building with the money that the city has put into.
Correct.
That's
Yep.
okay. All right.
And we searched long and hard and spent a lot of time looking for suitable places that we could relocate that station to.
Right.
There's just not much available in that area.
Yeah.
And so we put a lot of time in, and that became what we believe was the best option to maintain response times to those areas of the city and house the men and women from that station and their equipment as well.
Okay. We keep going, or we're taking turns. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Also then, you talked about, or I'm sorry, Greg talked about that he believes he's within $930,000, that's kind of the contingency there. How did we end up with that last one? We had, okay.
Actually, I have the exact numbers for you on that one. So the amount of bond that was remaining after the issuance cost of the financing was $8,425,900. The final cost of Station 6 was $7,948,063.22. And so the amount that it was under the original budget was $477,836.78.
And that money is kept by the fire department to use in other buildings.
Yes, that is a really good point, actually, because it doesn't revert necessarily back to like general fund. It just goes to the only 2 things you can really use it on is the fire department or paying down your debt.
Which is why when you said that it goes back to us, that savings, it doesn't really go back to us, but it goes back to either the fire department.
That's correct.
Yep.
The only way it could go back to you would be if you used it to pay off the debt, which you are allowed to do if you want to. But, yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I might have more after this, but we'll start with that.
Well, with the chief, with the savings, that $477,000 you just mentioned from Fire Station 6, will that be used or utilized in any way to do the rebuild for the temporary station that you need?
That money would not be used for that. The cost of that is figured into the Station 5 project itself. The plan is to use the money there, and whatever we can scrape up from our building funds or whatever maybe we have with this deal would be to do renovations at Station 7. We already have some plans together. We renovated their restroom and shower area a couple years ago, but it needs some work itself. So we're hoping to be able to use those contingencies to fund that project.
We're talking right there. He just said something I had never heard. We're not even talking about Project 5 anymore. Now we're talking about Project 7, Station 7. They've built Station 6. This is about Station 5. Now he's talking about doing something at Station 7 already.
On their locker room and restroom and showering facilities and the bunk room space at Station 2 and Station 3, as well as we're getting ready to undertake some concrete projects on the exteriors of Station 4 and Station 3. Okay. So we have a lot of projects going on, but the hope was to use
the fire department does
for Station 7, which will be a much more expensive project for us to undertake.
Okay, thank you. You have a question, if I may continue. The Station 6 that we're working on, the second story square footage as well as the Bay area. Will that be comparable to station that we just built?
Station 6. It actually is a larger fire station. So I've got an exact number for you on that. The square footage of the first floor and the second floor, because it's a perfect on top of each other, is 7,875 per floor. And then the mezzanine area is 1,562 square feet. And so the total square footage of the firehouse is 17,312 square feet, which is a few thousand square feet larger than Station 6.
Then I have a few questions about the ordinance that we have. It talked in here concerning the pledge of the lit and also county. And I don't know who can answer this, but it talked about the county allocating funds to the city. Does anyone know approximately what they're speaking of in terms of cash dollars for this?
My understanding of county, the reason that the county is mentioned in there is because the county administers local income tax and determines, there's an equation that they use, but it determines all of the overlapping communities like City of Muncie or Town of Selma, those sorts of things, what share that they get. So I believe what that is referring to is your share that is received through that equation.
But we don't know.
I have not heard that the county is giving additional dollars over the normal share.
Okay. I wanted to ask that. That's all I have to moment. Go ahead.
Mr. Burford, the size of this fire station, you guys say it's bigger than the one what you got?
Yes, it's considerably bigger than what's at the site right now. The stations that's there now are 2 bays, and they're fairly short bays as well. So this is 4 bays now instead of 2. They're longer, and then the living quarters up above. It'll be a substantially larger station.
Do you plan on having more firefighters on per shift with this new one? Or?
We would love to fill the station with firefighters, but when we get the place to put them, that'll be a discussion that we have to come back through contract negotiations and budgeting processes with the administration and with you.
What are we even talking about?
It's going to be like number 6, having separate bathrooms and separate bedrooms for.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, there'll be private sleeping areas and private restroom and showering facilities.
So it looks like there are 10 bunks in this.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yep.
I have a memory, and maybe wrong, but that we talked about this with the last firehouse when we were talking about, costs and could things be, cost less.
Sure.
And you talked about needing all of those bunks at that point because it was going to be this kind of center station, the main one. And when you had people in for training or whatever, you wanted extra beds there, and, to be able to keep people there, and that it would be the main one, the big one. So why will this one be bigger than 5 was?
We
Or than
have
6, sorry.
we have extra people on occasion at every station with the paramedic ride program that we have. We have several paramedic students coming in and actually working shifts, doing their internships and their clinical times for their paramedic certifications. There's times of the year where we have the availability to have 1 or 2 additional staffing that can be in those stations as well. The goal here is to have the tower back at Station 5. Right now, Engine 5, Medic 5 are there. The goal is to have the tower back there, and we'd love to have it fully staffed. So to be able to do that, we would have to have some space. And if that was the case, we would love to see a minimum of 8 people at that station every day in all reality. And how we get there,
Right.
we would still have to be able to accommodate that. Now, with being 4 bays, so that, we have that there, and we'd also like to keep some spare ambulances there for special events. With Ball State, we do a lot of work there. It'd be nice to have a couple ambulances there, as well as moving some of our EMS supplies there so that when our ambulances leave Ball Hospital, they can restock right there. And get them back in service quicker. But with the design and it being a second
Good
floor,
evening,
we have the
Brenda.
available space there to do that. And the cost of adding those bunk spaces is relatively nothing. Why we're doing that is to just maybe having a larger day room, if you will, or something in that space.
Great. Sounds
Are
wonderful.
you still going to have the pole that they usually slide down on?
This station's designed to have a fire
We're
pole.
still going to
Correct,
have
yes.
the pole. Like,
Yes, we'll have 2
what?
stairways, and then we'll have a pole as well.
Are we still going to have the really cool
Hopefully.
pole that we're going to slide down?
The additional funds that Ball State will begin to pay every year.
Listen,
Will those additional funds come into the city coffers? Will that go into the fire department?
That will all have to be really negotiated with the administration
yeah.
as to where the funds go as they come in.
Where's the administration? Hello? This is time for the administration to be here.
That's a discussion that we will have to have with where those will be allocated.
Okay. And sorry, Mr. Martz, you're not familiar with that either. When you're talking about the numbers and everything, but you don't know if that 1.5 million will go toward this 11.5 that you're talking about or anything. Or
If you don't mind, I know the pledge was for the station. Now I can't speak as to when that 1.5 would be applied. I don't know if they'll distribute that when the station is complete. I don't know if it's being distributed up front. I can't answer that, but my recollection is the funds will be used towards the station. So the max would be the 11.5. Doesn't mean that we would need the entire 11.5 for the station project.
And no one's from the administration or the bond attorney are here.
Our bond attorney, unfortunately, is on vacation. So
We won't need 11.5, but we're going to use as much of that as humanly possible.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, yeah. And now listen to what he says here. And he, I obviously think he's smiling because he's uncomfortable saying it. He should be uncomfortable saying it. This should be, I mean, they really left this dude out to dry. Listen to this.
And no one from the administration or the bond attorney are here.
Our bond attorney, unfortunately, is on vacation, so he would love to have been here.
A lot more questions about those things.
Our bond counsel is on vacation. He would have loved to have been here. Bose McKinney is a large firm. Why didn't they send somebody else to fill in? You know, okay, the bond attorney, I guess, you know, like, hey, people have vacations and it is what it is. The council could have, that's the other thing. They had this committee meeting at the very last possible minute. Why didn't we have this 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? Why wouldn't we have had this in a time frame in which we would have made sure the people that needed to be here would be here? Why is that happening? My question is, obviously the chief's here and Greg Martz is here. So, you know, the Ridenour administration knew this was going on. But, you know,
some stuff, you know, that I sent out to the council. But yeah, he unfortunately couldn't be here tonight.
Unfortunately.
So if the 1.5 was applied in the beginning, I'd drop it to 10. And then if we were less 900,000, then we may be closer to the 9 million mark then on this station.
That's definitely an understanding. But I think we would have to see where we are when we get there. The agreement with GM Development is for a station, you know, for 11.5. Right. So if there's extra funds, they don't go towards the station. The developer will have locked in that cost. So those will be funds for projects. But under the rules, those additional funds would have to go for fire station projects. And so they would have to be approved by the council as well.
So the council could make ruling to move those funds back into the general fund as opposed to giving it to
as far as the Ball States contribution,
900,000 if we're roughly over by
they could be allocated by council to be used for fire station improvements.
Okay.
That 1.5 that Ball states, that's just a one-time deal, isn't it?
Yes, that is my understanding. Correct. I wasn't involved directly in that negotiation.
Okay. I need to talk to that gentleman there. Are you planning on using union workers?
Yes. I'm really glad you brought that up. I should have had that in the presentation. Yes. You had made a determination, Station 6, which I'm assuming, I believe we all would agree that needs to continue on Station 5, which is that the contracts need either be local or union labor, and maybe both, preferably both, if that can be possible. And that's exactly what our intent would be. Yep.
Absolutely, Kate.
Some guys worked on 6 out there, and they said they were union workers. So I really appreciate it. You can use all the union people that you can get locally.
Yep. And I'll tell you, we had used Hagerman, who's a union contractor on Station 1 as the construction manager. And one thing I don't know if you know about this, but it's a great thing for you all being on the council is Sean, our local union rep, had this idea for several years of providing an internship for a high schooler. And he was not even requesting for the individual to be paid. He was saying, we've got someone that's really good. He wants to just start learning ways in high school. Well, for years, he had, these students that he wanted to do this with, and what he kept getting shut down with was insurance issues. And Hagerman worked with him, figured out with their insurance company how to get a senior high school student hired, and actually paid him a union wage on top of it. So first time in the state's history that there was a high school union wage paid internship on a public project was Station 6.
That's good.
Yeah, I do. So you said that your budget is based on some fire stations that have, when were those built and by whom and where were they?
Yeah, that's a good question. So that's a really good question, actually, because every fire station is not the same. I think that's probably obvious. Question. But just as one example, we're building a fire station right now for $720,000 in Southern Indiana. We're building another one for $21 million in another location. And, each one of those are appropriate for that community. And so you are correct that it's not an exact science when you're comparing one fire station to another, because every community is different. What I think the focus of this design here is that it's a transitional area between residential living and an institutional area with Ball State. And so what we're going for with this design was something that was kind of right in between. Hopefully it has a homey feel to it, but hopefully it also has a little bit of the institutional feel so that it fits in with Ball Memorial and Ball State. So that's tough to find a fire station like that. That's why I definitely think it's important to maintain that contingency. But we've built, I don't know, maybe 60 public safety buildings, something like that. So we have a lot of bid background for the last 15 years. The key when you're doing comparisons, the absolute most important thing is that COVID was a complete reset of budgets. And so you can almost not look at anything.
COVID's reset.
And so it becomes pretty easy when you're comparing fire stations and we'll get And again, the main reason being, if you can build a single story, that would probably be the most recent one. That
one down there in Westfield, didn't you? The fire stations that were being built. I went to car.
Money, so I think we need other people here in order to get those answered. Well, I do, but it's about financing and money, so I think.
beautiful firehouse.
Listen to this.
Well, I do, but it's about financing and money, so I think we need other people here in order to get
We'll
those
have to
answered.
bring that up at our council meeting.
Mhm.
But, you don't have any more, Jeff?
I finance questions if you can.
I want to thank you for doing a good job.
So Jerry, not speaking loudly into the microphone, leans to both of the counselors with him, Sarah and Jeff, and says, "Do you guys have any more questions?" To which both of them say, "I have questions about the financing, but no one's here, to answer those." So that's that.
On number 6 over there.
Yeah, that's
And it
interesting,
really looks
John.
nice. The grass is starting to come up, and it's looking that much nicer over there. So that was a big thing for that neighborhood, the Whiteley neighborhood in Morningside, because of the traffic.
That's right, Ken.
But you guys have done an amazing job for what what time restraints you had on that over there. And I know it was in the winter, but you guys made it okay. And
Thank you.
I wanted to thank you guys for that.
Well, I'm very proud of that fire station, and I know you are too. So
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Right.
Part of the tree made that table out of the tree. That motion to adjourn.
We don't have.
Okay, just call or adjourn. Okay. Thank you.
He's
Thank you.
proud of the fire station. He didn't actually build it. He acted as middleman, pocketed
Yeah.
a whole bunch of money, to play middleman.
Tuesdays.
But he's proud.
Right.
I'd
Right.
be proud if I pocketed a couple $100,000 too.
Right. Right. Well, yeah. So that was that. So after that little section there, I went up to the podium. What's wrong with building one that's practical instead of one that has that homey feel? There's a lot wrong with the station. Look, I'm not saying that these stations don't need rebuilt. I'm just saying I don't know that they need rebuilt for $11 million. That's what I'm saying. And look, I'll be honest. Maybe this station needs rebuilt at $11 million. Maybe that wouldn't be so hard to chew if we wouldn't have just built this other one for $9 million. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the last one was overbuilt, and it just seems like we're trying to overbuild here. I'm really bothered by that. I'm also really bothered by the fact that we can't ever seem to get a straight answer. I don't care who's involved. I don't care what's happening. We just can't ever seem to get a straight answer. And that is a problem. And it should be a problem. And we should see it as a major problem. And so, it is what it is. I want to show you this. I want to show you something here. Really quickly. No, we don't know because they're still doing stuff to it. So what I want them to do is I want all of the work at Station 6 to be completed. Then I'm going to submit a record request for the entire project. But I want to get everything done prior to doing that, because the thing that's a big pain in the ass is submitting the same record request multiple times over the course of like a month or two, and it takes forever to get them anyways. So I want it all to be wrapped up to then do that.
But he said that they had $477,000 left over that the fire stations get, the fire department gets, so they can do fire station projects.
Hold on, you're roboting out. So I heard he said they have $400,000 that the fire departments get. What was your next part?
Isn't that part of the bond that they took out to build the station? That's what's left over.
That's what I think. That's what I think, and that's why I think, and that's what they're saying is it has to stay with the fire department stuff and doing stuff, other fire department stuff.
Or they could put it back on the bond.
Or they could put it back on the bond, which is what
Which is
they
what
need
they
to do
should
with it.
do.
Which is what needs to happen with it.
Instead
Absolutely.
of giving the fire department their own personal slush fund.
Every other word. I don't know what's going on. So who told Dan about the 1.5 million? Are you saying, because here's the problem. Do you mean that fire chief whose name is Dan, or are you talking about Mayor Dan? Let me know which Dan you're talking about, because the person who told Fire Chief Dan was Mayor Dan, and the person who told Mayor Dan was somebody from Ball State. I don't know who that would have been, but Ball State told the mayor that they would be willing to give $1.5 million. And then Mayor Dan told Fire Department Dan. And then or the Chief Deputy Dan. They're all Dan. That's the problem. It's all Dan all the time. Okay, so then after that, I'm not going to call it a meeting anymore, because it's not a meeting. It wasn't a meeting. It was a cluster. It was a circle jerk. After that little event that we had, I walked up to talk to the counselors that were there about this. This is the agenda. And I kept listening to what they were saying there. Okay. And I heard multiple people talking about when they pass this ordinance on Monday, when we pass it Monday, when we pass it Monday. And I walked up and said, you're not voting to pass it on Monday the 6th. That can't happen. And I said, here's the problem. If we look here, this is how it works, okay? Here's the agenda. It says, ordinances previously introduced. What this means is, oh, look, they fixed it. All right, so she's fixed this. Let me see if I have a picture of it somewhere. If I took a screenshot of it. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Because I wanted to make sure that people didn't think that I was lying. Okay. So when we go to the agenda here, this is the agenda from, I pulled this up before the meeting. It says, committee reports, ordinances previously introduced, Ordinance 9-26, an ordinance of the City of Muncie, Indiana, approving matters related to a lease of financing the fire station. Okay, so here this is. Then you go to page 2, and page 2 is the rest of the ordinance. Okay, well, the problem here is, if you look down here in tabled section, Ordinance 9-26 is in the tabled section, because at the June meeting, they did not introduce Ordinance 9-26. They tabled it. It was tabled. And they sent it to the Public Services Committee. So that means when we walk into the meeting on Monday, July 6th, they will not be, or should not be, in the state of mind that they are only going to read and vote on that ordinance one more time. And I stood up and said, so it can't be passed. And when I said that, okay, this is what's absolutely frustrating with what occurred. And this just scares the hell out of me. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to explain this to you right here. I'm going to pull this up. Give me 1 second. So when I was up talking with the counselors and telling them that it couldn't be passed, retired Muncie fireman and complete asshole jackass ignorant ass Terry Moore stands up and says, "But why can't it be passed? They can suspend the rules." And I said, yeah, this isn't something they should be suspending the rules on. Why isn't it? And I said, Terry, you know why it's not. Your wife set up here on the council. You've been employed by the city of Muncie. You are fully aware of why this should not be jammed through. No one has any questions answered. And he says, oh, no one will have any questions by the 6th. All of their questions will be answered. And I just said, okay, that's it, ignorant. I'm not going to listen to this anymore. And I turned away. You know what? I felt sorry for Terry for like 10 seconds. And then I remembered why I shouldn't. And he's a complete idiot. He's a hack. And this is what scares me. There is an expectation, and I'm telling you it's coming. So the council secretary, Lacey Jones, was there, and she said, that's probably a mistake. We probably just put it under old business by accident. It was tabled, and she did confirm what I was saying, that it was tabled. And now, as we go look at the agenda for this upcoming meeting, they did fix it. And so I'm happy that they did that. And that lets me know that, okay, we're not going to have to fight that. Okay. So they did fix it. They did fix it. All right. Because we can see ordinances previously introduced. It starts at 10:26, 11:26, 12:26. Then new ordinances, 13:26, 14:26, resolution. And then under tabled, we've got ordinance 9:26. So what this means is the council should go in on Monday the 6th, and hopefully the administration will be there, and hopefully the bond council will be there, and the administration needs to be read the Riot Act. The council needs to chew their ass and say, we set a public service committee meeting to gain information for you guys, for the Ridenour Administration, okay? Meaning somebody from Dan's office, because obviously Dan can't be there. We understand that. Nobody's being stupid. Everybody knows that Dan can't be there. I get it. Okay? So someone from Dan's office needs to be there. That's just common sense. Somebody from the controller's office needs to be there. Okay? That's common sense. Someone from the fire department needs to be there. That's common sense. Someone from GM development needs to be there. That's common sense. I would say the city council or the city mayor's administration attorneys need to be there. And the bond council needs to be there. They all need to be there. They all needed to be there Friday. But they played a game. They played nonsensical games, and they didn't show up. Now, no questions got answered. So unless they are prepared to answer them Monday, and unless they answer them in a way that is, genuine answers and everybody's satisfied, meaning the public and the counselors, this ordinance needs to be tabled again. They need to call another public services committee, and they need to tell all of those people, this time you better show up. This time you better get there, or it will remain tabled until you do. Now, if everybody shows up Monday and everybody's prepared to answer these questions, then the ordinance can come off the table and the counselors can introduce it. But this is not an ordinance or a situation which meets the standard for suspending the rules. And I say that knowing that there is a possibility that I am going to call for the council to suspend the rules on another ordinance. Listen, there are times when suspending the rules matter. There's times when it makes sense. There's times when it's a valid reason. And then there are other times when it doesn't make any sense to do it and it should not be done. Anytime you're talking about large amounts of money in play, large amounts of tax dollars at play, I think you need to play it safe and you need to go through the process. It needs to not be jammed through. So we're going to be watching that, because I'm telling you, Terry Moore stood up there and said that with the whole intention of letting them know that they needed to suspend the rules. And the fire department is working on the council between now and Monday the 6th. That's what they're going to be telling them. They're going to be telling them, you need to suspend the rules. You need to tell them to suspend the rules. And we are really going to have to fight back against that. We're going to have to tell them to hold the line. And if the questions can't get answered on Monday, leave the damn thing tabled. That's the only thing I can say. I don't know what else to do. They cannot decide to move forward. That would be a major problem. They can't decide that on Monday. And they can't just say, we're voting on it and we're passing it all on Monday. That would be a major, major, major oversight. Okay, we're going to take a real quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how this was the second time in 1 week that the administration decided to flip the council the middle finger, saying, we don't care what you think. We don't care what you want. We're not doing it. And, do something about it. Will the council have the guts to do what needs to be done? I don't know. Time will tell. I don't think that they do, but we'll talk about that. So you guys sit tight. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Political Spotlight, and we will return in just 1 second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and we are talking about the city of Muncie. The fact that the mayor's administration, Ridenour's administration, the controller's office, the whole inner workings of the mayor's administration basically told the council, we don't respect you. We don't care what you want. We don't care what you're doing. We don't care what you or the citizens think. And we're going to act as we see. And you might be like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? And it's funny because it's all the it's all been this last week. Okay. It started out on Tuesday, June 23rd. The deadline came and went for the first part of the resolution 826. Okay. Up here on the screen, you can see the deadline was June 23rd. The controller's office was to prepare the documentation and give it to the council. They were to have that on June 23rd, and June 23rd came and went, and there was nothing. Now, I asked a couple different council people if they received the documentation, and basically everyone I received said no. As of the end of the day on the 23rd, we did not receive anything. I reached out to the council this weekend and I asked again, just as a follow-up, hey, in these last couple of days, have they sent you what you needed? And I haven't got a response yet. I assume Nora will respond maybe this late tonight, early tomorrow morning, sometime by tomorrow. I'm hoping she will. She's normally pretty good on responding. She's been a little slow here lately. So I don't like that it appears as though she's kind of slowing down and answering. You know, one of the things I appreciate is how she's been quick on the ball, and I hope she remains in that place. I did send a question, and I sent an email to Craig at his email on Wednesday the 24th. I just said, City Controller Craig Wright and others. I said, Craig, I'm sending this to you for you to receive it Wednesday morning, June 24th, 2026. My question is as follows. As of the end of the day yesterday, Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026, your office had not complied with the first action point of the council's resolution 8-26. Will your office be complying with the council and resolution 826, or have you decided to not comply at this time? Please respond. And he has failed to answer that. I figured he probably would, but I figured I would give him a little bit of opportunity to see if he would respond or not respond, you know, hoping that he would say, hey, no, we haven't, you know, we didn't get it there in time. My apologies. We were working on something, but we have it prepared and I'm sending it out today. Well, he hasn't said that. And that's, you know, alarming, but it is what it is. So I'm looking here. Give me a second. I'm looking to see if I have any emails. Nope, I do not have any emails from any of the council members. So unfortunately, no one has responded yet, but that's where we're at. So look, we've got a week. Today is Sunday. Tomorrow's Monday, the 29th. Basically, we will have, you know, all of this week into the weekend. We will then have a council meeting on Monday, the 6th of July, after the holiday. Basically, no one will be doing anything this week. This week will be very light as far as what anyone's doing. The city of Muncie will basically shut down, and the city councilors won't be doing much. But then after we get through Sunday the 5th, and we move into Monday, July 6th, and it's time for the tax abatement committee at 6:30, then the public hearing at 6:45, and then the regular council meeting at 7. We'll be going in there, and the council is going to be, they're going to be coming in the bad way. You know when you're in middle school and you got the kid that's picking on you, that's bullying you. I don't know if you were ever bullied, or maybe you were the bully, but you've got the bully that's just poking at you and picking at you and calling you names and maybe kicking you on the bus as you walk by, or slamming you into lockers, or doing whatever kids do, and you go home and you cry about it. You talk to your parents, and, you've got, your mom tells you just to look the other way, and your dad tells you he doesn't want to hear about it. If you let the bully kick you and punch you and you don't do anything and you come home, you're going to be in trouble. I don't want to hear any more about it. If the bully kicks at you and punches you, you got to punch the bully back. And if you get in trouble, you get in trouble, but you'll come home and, I don't know what. I'll give you, he's talking to the 8-year-old kid. I'll give you a Miller Lite and a cigarette, and, take you to see the gambling horses or whatever. What I'm just trying, whatever, whatever dads say to kids. You know what I mean? I got in a fight in 8th grade, and I got kicked out. I didn't start it. Robert Sabura. we're really good. We were good friends. He came up and he grabbed me and he slammed me, and I turned around and punched him. And the teacher came up and grabbed us both and took us down. We both got kicked out of school. I got that asshole back years later, though. I introduced him to his wife. So I got the last laugh, Robert Sabura. Wherever you're at in the world, I hope you and Emily are still doing well. I think they're still married and doing well, but I actually turned him on to his wife. So I got him back in the end. Anyway, that's the same thing that the council's got going on right now with the administration. The administration is bullying them a little bit, and it's just going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening until the council pushes back. Yes, there are repercussions if he doesn't comply. The council has subpoena power. The only thing worse than the council requesting these documents and this information is requesting it by subpoena. That's the only thing, in my opinion, that would be worse. Now, I want to go back here and hit on a couple of these things real quick. Kate said, important meeting concerning a bunch of money being spent and anything controversial. There will be live streaming issues. That is absolutely true. That's almost always going to happen. So they saved money this month because that's 3 meetings they didn't get live streamed. No, they get paid whether the meeting's live stream or not. That's how it works. You know what I mean? It's not like real life. It's La La Land. Kate says there's no bid process on this. They're doing it bot, so they don't have to bid it out. That's exactly true. It's a bunch of crap. Or it could go back. Or it can go back on the bond, which is where it should go. And I absolutely agree to that. I also do want to hit a couple topics here that are also important. just not Jason Chafin. He has no relevance in this situation. Jason Chafin is not relevant to anything. Jason Chafin is not relevant to anything. You know, well, show me a ladder that he's climbing up as a fireman. Is he running from the rig to the car wreck to save your life? Is he doing chest compressions for 45 minutes? He's not relevant in any way. He's not relevant at his job. He's not relevant at the politics. He's not relevant to any of this. So we need to stop treating him like he is. That would be the most important thing. Jackie Fisher with the line of the night. Suspending the rules would be negligence on the part of the council. Suspending rules would be negligent on the part of the council. Yes, 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 absolutely. Absolutely, that's true. Shirley says, Brandon key vote again. Jerry wants the fire poll, so we'll know his vote. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I don't know where we are with all of the Democrats on this. Because Nora was getting really animated about there not being anyone to answer these questions. But I think she's really afraid. I think a lot of people are really afraid of not voting to move forward with a project for the fire department because that's an awful big lobby to piss off the Muncie Fire Department. Ooh. You know what? And you know why? You know why that is? Because the public, we as the public, have not taught these elected officials to be afraid of us. We, as the public, need the council to be afraid of us more than they are the fire union or the police union. Look, they're not afraid of AFSCME. Look at what they're doing to AFSCME. Concerned citizen. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. They have definite power when it comes to Resolution 826. And I think that if the council would blow up, show them that they're in charge on Resolution 826, that would help them with this fire department thing. Got it? If the council would say, we're not going to tolerate this disrespect. You were told to do something. We expect you to do it. We want you to do it. You don't have a choice. And if the council would take this matter to the court and proceed, I think that would solve a lot of other issues. You know? I just feel like the council has bent over and let the administration push them on basically everything. So the administration knows they can get away with this shit. Why can't they vote to approve it with a budget of $6 million? When will people learn to live within their means? Well, what I think they ought to do is, I think they ought to put it out to what is that? RFP, request for what's it called? Request for what? RFP. Proposal. Request for proposal. They need to put it out to that. And when they do the request for proposals, then they can get back and they can get an understanding of where they are at. They need to take bids and see what's happening here. I feel like that would be a good thing. And listen, if somebody other, like maybe someone other than GM Development comes back and says, hey, it's going to cost $8 million. Well, I would be okay with that. Because this one is a large fire station. Now, I don't think that means the city should just jump and say, okay, well, we're gonna throw out $8 million. We're gonna get bonds. I think at that point, the city then goes to Ball State and says, hey, we need you to go halvesies on this. We need you to help us out here. Split this up and see where we're at. They are doing a bot this time. What are you talking about? They are doing a bot this time. Well, they first put it forward and made it look like they weren't doing a bot. Then a bunch of people asked questions, so we started asking questions. And then they're like, oh, we are doing a bot. We are going to put it forward through the bot process. Just hang tight. We're going to do that now. And so now that's what we're seeing. They're going through the bot process. I think the council... Here's the problem, though. The council's led by Jeff Green, so the council's not going to do it. No, it doesn't matter. The council's not going to do anything. It does not matter. I can't get that man to look at me. Let me tell you something. I'm standing after the failed meeting, talking to two individuals at their vehicle. It was raining, and the two people were in their vehicle. One of them, I won't name these people. I mean, that shouldn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out if you've listened to tonight's show. Jeff Green comes up to talk to them in the door, and he gets real close to me, but then he looks up and he notices it's me, and his eyes get real big. And I look at him and I almost spoke, but he got away from me really quickly, and he moved over to the other side. He moved over to the other side so he wouldn't have to be around me, wouldn't have to be near me. I can't get this man to respond in an email. I can't get him to make eye contact with me. If I walk up and speak to him at the dais, he just stands there and looks. Jerry Dishman starts talking. Sarah Gullion starts talking. He will not say a word. Jerry's standing up, showing me a picture of a ram. Jerry just got back from being out at the Grand Canyon. And I was like, oh yeah, the Grand Canyon. That's so amazing. I would love to see the Grand Canyon. To me, that's to me like proof that God exists, that God is real. Just seeing the art that is the Grand Canyon, and just, saying things. And I guarantee you, Jeff Green's like, what's this guy saying? Well, I don't understand. God, what is he talking about? It's Kristopher Bilbrey we're talking about here. And that's what's so crazy to me. I can't even get this guy to talk non-political stuff to me. He refuses to communicate. And it's just laughable. Everyone that tells me that this guy is such a good guy, it's crazy to me, because that's not what I see. That's not what I get. That's not what I get from him. Brandon has a kind of a personal connection to people that know him, his family members. And Brandon's like, yeah, they're real nice people. He's a really nice guy. And I take Brandon's word for it. I'm like, okay, I gave Green the benefit of the doubt because of that. And he's never given me the time of day. That would be hilarious. I should do that, Charlize. I think they'd probably have me kicked out. They'd call the cops and say I was there harassing them. That's the problem I have with these people. You can't have any kind of common sense discussion with these people. His actions make it hard to believe that it's hard to believe. Never in my life have I seen more, mousy behavior, just afraid of their own shadow, but it's because, and I've had people in the Republican Party tell me that, while he may be a Christian, politically, he has sold his soul to Dan. He does not do anything without Dan and Tim's approval and Stephen Brand. Those three people are who give him his marching orders. And if it's not something that's directly from Dan's mouth, or Tim Overton's mouth, or Stephen Brand's mouth, it's not the gospel. That's the gospel. And that's a very strange way to live. It is what it is. There has to be a more economical way to build the station. There's clearly a more economical way. And that is, don't let GM Development, Dan Ridenour and co. and, a couple of them run it. Don't go through the bot process. Do bids and do it the way that municipal governments have been doing things like this for a long time. Don't do it the way that's like the kind of sleazy, maybe not illegal, but definitely on the borderline of corrupt type of nonsense to help get people big dollars because they're your friends and supporters. And keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I believe, I better not say this. I'll have to get it. I believe that GM Development donated to Dan's campaign. I can't recall. I know that we had it at one time. Do you recall that? I can't recall if that happened or not. Before we moved to the new studio, I knew right where Dan's paperwork was. I think, I don't know. I'll have to repoll it and see, but I'm pretty sure that in 2023 and as well as 2019, GM Development gave money to the Ridenour campaign. Let's see. Maybe that's true. I don't know. I bet it doesn't. Because it's not a state level. It's not a state level. It's not like the state officials. Let's see if Grok knows. I bet it doesn't. Did GM Development give a donation to the re-election committee of Muncie Mayor Dan Ridenour, Muncie, Indiana. Mayor Dan Ridenour. We'll find out. We'll find out right now. I bet they don't know. Unless they can pull it out of one of my old posts. Yeah, I don't like it because the answer says no. There is no publicly available evidence that GM Development or its representatives, such as Greg Martz, donated to Mayor Ridenour re-election committee. But here's the thing: it's because there's no database of local officials, not like there are for state officials. So I will pull that from the. I will pull his 2019 and 2023 campaign committees, and we will take a look because I'm pretty sure that they did. I will eat that if I'm wrong, but the point there is, I think that's gross. Just FYI, that's just my personal belief. I think that's gross. Let me look up one more place before we call that one. Bilbrey. GM Development. Donate to Muncie Mayor Dan Ridenour 2023 re-election campaign. We'll see right here. No, I'm gonna have to pull it. Is what I'll have to do because I'm not able to find it that way. I'll pull them. I'll pull both of them, and we will find out. I will request that tomorrow. That won't be hard at all, and that way I can know for exactly sure if that happened. I'm looking here. Give me a couple things just briefly here, seconds, and I'll see. Yeah, I will have to pull that. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll let you guys know. The only other thing that I wanted to say to you guys tonight before we left, see you, Alva. Take care. The only other thing that I wanted to say to you guys tonight before we leave is this is the big week. Wednesday is the July 1st, and that is the date that J.D. Prescott will be meeting all of the citizens in Delaware County that want to go to his property tax plan repeal, replace tour. That's at 6 p.m. I am going to be there. I would highly recommend as many citizens as possible attend and go to this thing. After this, at some point, we are going to this maybe Thursday, maybe we'll do a special Friday night show. I don't know. We're going to break down what this plan is, the good, the bad, the ugly, and do all of that. So keep watching and keep digging information out on that. That is at 6 p.m. on Wednesday the 1st. Not tomorrow, not Tuesday, but it's Wednesday, July 1st. So keep that in mind. I am digging. Maybe this week we'll do a show on Dunreath Fire Department. We've got that I'm looking into. I've got a couple of other things in Henry County that I've been looking into. And I'm also going to be really looking into what Diego Morales does as the Secretary of State between now and November, because he got beat. Diego got beat at the convention. So he's not the nominee. He's a lame duck. Okay. But he still has $1 million in his war chest, and he just received a $10,000 donation last week. People are still donating to him. And we need to be very, very watchful of that money, where that money goes, and what it goes for between now and November. Moreover, what happens to it after November. So we're going to be watching that very closely, and I'm going to be following along with that. J.D. Prescott, the address for J.D. Prescott's events is the Muncie Elks Club. Muncie Elks Club is at 909 North 500 West, Muncie, Indiana. Okay. So it's just south of Jackson, okay, or south of 332 on 500 North, okay. So if you're probably the easiest way for people in the city of Muncie to go out there is if you just take Jackson out past Nebo, go out to 500 West, and then turn south. Or you could take Jackson to Nebo and go down to 50 North. 50 North runs just straight into it. It's the Elks Golf Club, the Muncie Elks Golf Club, and so it should be an interesting little deal. I will be there. I recommend you guys go there and listen to it. Be prepared to ask questions, and then after that event, we are going to break it all down. So You guys be ready for that. And we should have a great week of shows. We should, God willing, be here all week. I don't think we'll be missing any, unless something comes up. So you guys tune in all week. Remember to share the show with everyone you know. Help spread the word. Click like, subscribe, do all of that wonderful stuff. That would be fantastic if you would be willing to do that. And we will see you back here same time tomorrow. And I don't exactly know what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, but it will be a good show. Either way, you guys take care. Have a great haircut money. You guys have a great evening. Thank you very much for the $20, Mr. Stumblefoot. I appreciate it. As always, your money goes not to my personal needs, but to the equipment and getting us to places that you want us to go to and to other situations to make things better for you. It goes to record requests and buying all of that stuff and doing things. I will have a pretty important fight, I think, on my hands coming up. I have had a couple people reach out to me and ask me for some help in Jay County and specifically Red Key. I have filed a record request, a pretty extensive record request with Red Key, and I know they're going to try to charge me an exorbitant amount, so I'm going to have a fight there. So we'll put your $20 to some good use, Stumblefoot, and I appreciate that very much as always. You guys take care. Have a good evening. God bless each and every one of you, and we will see you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.